Hey, we haven't talked about the election yet. It's all over. The party's over. You want my thoughts on it? Probably not. I'm going to give them to you anyways. Let's talk about it. Okay. The election is over. I'm going to, while we talk about this, by the way, I want to thank Sebastian. You saw that shirt in the opening. One of my followers out there, Sebastian, he sent me that shirt in the mail. He said, I'm going to send you something. Can you give me your address? I said, uh-oh, this might not be good. But he said, no, it's on the up and up, so I'll send it to you. I got it, looked at it, and I figured, hey, man, I think he's spot on. What do you think? So I'm going to wear that shirt on your behalf, Sebastian, on Thanksgiving Day when my family comes over. So that out of the way. Let's talk about the election, but while we do it, I'm going to wipe the M3 down because it's kind of dirty and I haven't driven it in a while. And I know the next thing you're going to say is, Jesus, Chris, that's half the problem. You're not driving it enough. Well, I get that. I totally get that, but the weather's gotten really cold the last few weeks, and we had painters at the house for 2 or 3 weeks, and they were like all outside and clogging up the garage and the driveway, and I couldn't get anything out. I had to cover everything, keep everything getting really dirty, so things have been kind of crazy. So let's talk about the election. I mean, what can you say? What can you say about what happened? I've been saying for 3 years to all my friends that Hillary Clinton was going to be the next president of the United States. Book it, put money on it, do whatever you got to do, but she was going to be the next POTUS, and probably a two-termer, unless she dies before she finishes 2 terms. And the reason for that was really simple, mathematics. You know I like math. You look at the numbers, you crunch the numbers, and it's really simple. Takers outnumber makers in this country now. That happened under Barack Obama. So, you know, you just do the math, and there are more people now sucking from the government tit and sucking from the taxpayer, sucking from working class Americans like you and I. You know, we're the suckers because we actually work for a living. And all those folks have to do is go to the polls and, you know, vote themselves their annual subsidy, and they've got the votes to elect whoever they want. So I thought that's what was going to happen. What I didn't anticipate was the number of sort of disavowed, disaffected Democrats who really didn't like Clinton and just decided to stay home and didn't vote at all. And that was really what changed the election. Too many of those voters elected to stay home, which shocked the shit out of me. And then enough GOP voters went out and ended up voting, you know, all the same people that voted Barack in 08 and 012, basically, you know, white, working, middle class, college educated people, they ended up voting Donald Trump in. So I don't know anybody that says, oh, it's, you know, all these racist people voted this guy in. They're the same people that voted for a black president twice. So that argument doesn't hold water. But in any case, wow, the Democrats did not see that coming. I mean, obviously I didn't see it coming either, and probably a lot of you didn't, but you could just tell the night of the election after the results were coming in. And there were really a couple indicators for me that things were not looking good for the Democrats. I thought Trump would probably, he'd have an honest chance at getting Florida. And even if he had Florida, that wasn't going to, you know, solve his problem. He needed to get a bunch of other swing states. And he got North Carolina, and I thought he might get that. The one that really shocked me was not that he got Ohio, but he got Ohio by 11%. That is huge. I mean, that's just killing it. And it was really a close state just a couple days before the election. So once I saw that, I thought, man, if the margin is that big in the Midwest, and he does anywhere near that well in some of these other states that are even closer, he might just take them. And that's pretty much what happened. You know, he pretty much got all the Great Lakes states. He got Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. Didn't get Minnesota, but was competitive there. And just watching the Democrats just basically implode on themselves that night was pretty fun. Like I said, you know, I didn't really have a horse in the race. I didn't vote for Trump. Obviously, I didn't vote for Clinton. I always vote third party just as a protest vote against the two-party cartel. But in any case, I thought there were a bunch of things that were worth talking about that were just kind of interesting to me about the whole process itself, about the election, and then kind of the aftermath of it. And the first one was, you know, everybody talks about, oh, how Trump was, you know, he just isn't presidential material. He doesn't act that way. He says things that you shouldn't say. Well, okay, yeah, he has Twitter meltdowns and all that stuff. I get that. But think about this. What was the first thing Hillary Clinton did when she lost the election? She decided not to come out and concede the election publicly and make a statement. You know, walk out to the podium and make a statement. You know, she was so miserable, so inconsolable, so distraught, maybe so drunk, maybe so paralyzed with whatever disease she's got. You know, tearing ass into her campaign about why she lost. She was in such a stupor that she couldn't even come out and say, I would like to concede the election to Donald Trump. You know, I want to thank everybody for their, you know, efforts in this campaign, blah, 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 blah. She couldn't even do that. She was in such a bad state, which tells me, I don't think you have the temperament to be president if you can't do that. So, hey, you know, Trump came out. He thanked her. That's the least she could have done instead of sending out Podesta or whoever it was that came out, one of her lackeys, to say, oh, no, go home and get some sleep. We'll be okay. We'll talk about it in the morning. I mean, come on. The election was over. I mean, this was not Bush Gore. It was, the writing was on the wall. So that was a pretty low moment for her. And I don't know why the mainstream media gives her a pass on it. But they pretty much gave her a pass on everything. So what do I think of the Trump presidency? Well, let's put it this way. Here's a guy that the New York socialites in his own town and his own state hate him. People on the West Coast hate him. Hollywood hates him. The mainstream media hates him. College campuses and professors hate him. Pretty much all the politicians on both sides of the aisle in Congress hate him. To me, if you're doing all those things and all those people hate you, you're doing something right. I mean, you know, I don't know that I want to be friends with any of those people. So the fact that you can piss off that many people and get away with it, to me, I don't know, I might give you bonus points for that. So, you know, and I'm saying that, you know, hell, I don't even like Trump, really. But, you know, if you can aggravate all those people, then you've got to be doing something right, because they are pretty much the cesspool of America. And I've told you before in other videos, whatever you hear from the mainstream media, you need to automatically just assume it's 100% bullshit until you can verify it yourself. Because that's pretty much all they do is lie. And, you know, then there are some sites out there that are like fact checkers, you know, oh, the PolitiFacts and the Snopes and all that stuff. Well, here's the problem. They're bullshitters too. So, you know, we need fact checkers for the fact checkers anymore. That's how bad it's gotten. So you just cannot believe anything anybody tells you until you can verify it yourself with your own empirical research and evidence. Everything needs to be evidence-based. Just because somebody says it's true doesn't make it true. And then people will tell you, oh, well, you know, you're the one that's out of touch. You know, 90-some% of the people feel that way about. Well, that doesn't mean anything. I mean, You can have a consensus on something, and that doesn't mean anything. You can have 100% of the people, 2,000 years ago, say that, twinkly things in the sky were constellations and godlike deities. Well, they weren't. They're just stars. So, facts are relevant to these people when they talk about news and they try to reach a consensus on things. Consensus doesn't have anything to do with facts. Facts stand alone by themselves. So what kind of a presidency is Trump going to have? Well, I mean, first of all, the guy's been a Democrat longer than he's been a conservative, so if you're a Democrat, you ought to like him. I mean, he was by far the most liberal of any one of them in the primary, so you got that going for you. On the other hand, he's going to end up being, think about this, Trump is going to end up being the very first president ever to take the oath of office that was not in opposition to gay marriage. Okay, think about that. For all the hell he gets, Barack Obama can't say that. He was for traditional marriage when he took office. Now, of course, like everything, like him and Hillary, they changed their tune on everything. So first he was for it, then he was against it, then for it and against it, and so forth. So they changed their mind as the polls dictate. But, he's kind of a mixed bag, isn't he? I mean, you really don't know what to expect. And part of me says, man, this guy's really off his rocker. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's coming out from left field one day, right field the next. He doesn't make any sense. He contradicts everything. Why is he getting away with and saying all these things? And I think there's a legitimate argument to be made about that. And at other times I think, you know what? Maybe this guy is smarter than all of us, man. Maybe he is just playing us for a fool. And, we just haven't figured it out yet. He has got this amazing method to the madness that nobody can figure out and understand. We're all doing checkers and he's playing chess. It could be that. But it's just been really fun to watch the mainstream media go absolutely ape after he won, Saturday Night Live and all the TV shows and talk shows and morning shows. The apocalypse is coming. Racists and bigots elected him. Well, no, it's the Barack Obama crowd elected him. And really, I think more than anything, people voting for Trump don't even like Trump. They're just like, I don't care what this guy does, what he says. I just want somebody who's not a politician, and I want somebody in there that basically gives a big bird to everybody out there that's trying to, run our lives for us. So, we'll see how it goes. Imagine, on Inauguration Day when he's up there taking the oath of office and he's got Obama and Biden sitting right behind him. And his inauguration speech is like, and in the first 100 days of office, I'm going to repeal this, 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 and this. I can't wait to see their face. And knowing him, he probably won't hold back. He'll probably say something like that. But interesting times for sure. And I've already resigned myself to the fact that because I'm white and I'm male, that I'm a racist and I'm a bigot. I mean, anybody says that, I just say, yep, you're absolutely right. That's exactly what I am. And then, see, what you do is you say that, and then you completely disarm them. They no longer can hold that against you then. They can't use that argument anymore because you've taken it away from them. So just go out and admit to everybody that, yeah, I'm a racist. Yeah, they say, well, you don't like Mexicans, no, I don't. Just say, I don't like them. Well, why don't you? I just don't like their skin tone. That's it. That's all I got going against them. Nothing else. And then just play along with them. And then their arguments will look and sound stupid to them. Because they're looking for a fight. They're looking for you to argue with them. That's what they're after. So don't argue. Just agree with every single thing they say. So that's what I do when people say that. Yeah, of course I'm a bigot. I mean, why wouldn't you want to be? Then they just give you a look like, wait a minute, what are you saying here? I'm looking for a fight and you're not giving it to me. It'll be interesting to see what Trump does on immigration and the border. I don't think he's going to build a wall. I think it was a great talking point, and I think people who gravitated toward the build a wall thing, let Mexico pay for it thing, I even think they knew that that's not exactly what was going to end up happening. But I think they just liked the bravado of saying, we're tired of being picked on, we're tired of what's going on, we need to do something about this. Let's stop being wallflowers. My argument is as simple as it can possibly be. A, are you in this country? B, are you in this country illegally? If the answer to both of those questions is yes, you shouldn't be here. The end. Nothing else matters. There is not any other detail that I need to know about other than the fact that you broke into the country. Look, if I decide one day that I don't have any food in the house and I want to break into your house and break into your kitchen and eat you out of your refrigerator and then squat in your living room for the next 3 weeks, I can't just, that's breaking and entering, that's trespassing. I can't do that. I can't use the excuse of, well, you've got so much, I have so little, I'm just trying to live the American dream like you, and I'm here now anyway, so you can't send me out of your house now. No, you can't use that argument. That's silly. So why does that argument hold water if you're trying to break into somebody's country? Because that's what you're doing. I mean, if you cross the border illegally, you're breaking and entering. And imagine if you went to some other country. I mean, imagine if you went to Mexico and tried to break into Mexico. Do you think they're just going to keep you there and say, well, you're here now, we'll give you government assistance, we'll give you a driver's license, we'll give you access to our education system, our healthcare system, all that stuff? No, you'll be like that one guy, that one military guy that crossed the border accidentally in Tijuana or whatever and spent the next 6 months in some, shitty-ass jail in the middle of nowhere, Mexico. And then you'll hear people say, well, we need to be more like Europe and Scandinavia and all these other countries that are much more forgiving. Well, they're not really. I mean, for instance, Australia's policy is, if you're on a boat and you're on this rickety old boat and you're trying to sail to Australia in order to claim asylum or something like that, they don't take you in and give you shelter and worry about it. They turn that motherfucking boat around and you go back to where you came from. That's the way they do it. It doesn't matter if you're 100 yards from shore. They got their, Australian Coast Guard or whatever it is, and they make you turn the boat around and you don't step foot on it. And miraculously, what happened? I'll be damned. A lot fewer people started taking boats to Australia. It's funny how that works. So, it's just common sense stuff here. And I've got no problem with immigration. If you want to be here, just come through the legal channels. And we ought to even make immigration easier. It shouldn't take, as long as it takes to get good immigrants here. Legal immigrants that go through the process and are background checked and all that good stuff. So, to say you want a border that's secure, and to say you want to send the people who are here illegally back home in no way, shape, or form suggests that you are against immigration. And anybody that tries to talk their way over you about that, you can't let them. If you have the choice between letting in 1,000 people with no job skills, 7 kids each, and have a criminal background that goes back 20 years, or you can let in 1,000 people and they all got PhDs and doctorates and they're law professors and attorneys and mechanical engineers and chemical engineers and all that stuff. Which would you rather let in first? Well, I want the smart people in first. I want the people that can add something tangible to the country. I mean, we already got enough poor people as it is. We can't even take care of the ones we got. Why do we want any more? And so, yeah, I understand, you know, bring us your tired, poor, huddled masses, yearning to breathe free. I get all that. But that was at a time when we weren't $20 trillion in debt. Okay? We're broke, man. We're absolutely broke. We don't have money to take care of everybody anymore. And I don't pay my taxes to take care of the world. You know, I pay 40 to 50% of my income in taxes to take care of Americans, not to take care of Guatemalans, Haitians, Mexicans, Hondurans, anybody else. Doesn't mean I can't sympathize with their problem. Doesn't mean I can't still be charitable in my own time, in my own way, and help them out. But my taxes need to go to helping Americans. And until every American citizen is taken care of, every American veteran has what they need, the others need to go to the end of the line. It's just the way it should be. I don't understand why that is so controversial. I mean, it really shouldn't be. And like I tell you, unlike all those other YouTube channels, you know, out there where, you know, they're jetting off to Dubai and Saudi Arabia and Los Angeles and New York City every weekend to show you all the cars and all that stuff. I got to work for a living, okay? I got like 4 jobs as it is. Most of them feel like 2 jobs. So it feels like I'm working 8 jobs, but only getting paid about what ends up being about 1.5 jobs. So I do the best I can here, you know. And I don't know if those other people got family and other things like that, but I got other responsibilities too. People are counting on me to do things. And I just can't take off for weeks at a time to go fart around in the middle of the Middle Eastern desert. It's always interesting when we have holiday get-togethers with the family, because you never quite know what's going to happen. I don't know how it is in your household, but every time our family gets together, we kind of have to set the ground rules. And once we do that, then we kind of figure out after it's all over, after the smoke clears, if it was a success or not. And the first sort of measuring stick on whether it was a success in our family is if nobody called anybody else an asshole. So if we can avoid that, we're well on our way to prosperity. So you just never know what's going to happen with my family. I love them, but it's like it's like anybody else's family. You can pick your friends, but you can't pick your family. So sometimes you butt heads and you don't see things the same way. And I'm sure, since I haven't seen a number of them since the election, you know, great, they're going to bring that shit up again. That ought to be interesting. Ugh. So there we go. Those are my thoughts on this, that, and the other. It's going to be pretty hard to like this video, but if you can find it in your heart, click the like button. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe today so you never miss an episode. If we don't talk again before the holiday, have a good holiday, good Thanksgiving. Hope you have a good time. Hope nobody calls anybody an asshole in your house. And we'll talk again later. See ya.